My name is Luis. I am a tattoo artist here in Denver, Colorado. Um, Originally from Columbus, Ohio, moved around quite a bit. And yeah, I just met you the other day when you stopped by to get a cool ass vegan tattoo. So
Yeah, man. I wish I were wearing short sleeves. I'd show it off, but it's on my Instagram. People can see it.
yeah, for sure.
It's really funny because when I went in, I've always had this thing for rabbits, and like there's even I made a video where I even bought a beer because there was rabbits on it, and then I didn't even think about getting, but I used to want a rabbit under my 23, and I just kind of gave up. I didn't really think about it, and then when I went in, you're like, you had a rabbit on there, and I went, screw it, let's do the rabbit, man.
Yeah,
Fuck
that
it,
was
like,
great.
yeah, kismet.
Hmm.
But you're not just any tattoo artist, you're a totally 100% vegan tattoo artist.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, so I actually was really I learned a little bit because I learned about the razor blades aren't even sometimes vegan. Tell me,
Yeah.
so you, because you get down to like the nitty gritty, people talk about the ink, people talk about the stencil stuff, but you take it to the next level, not just having certified vegan stuff, but even like razors. Is there any other stuff that we need to like be considering, like the weird stuff that you didn't think about when you decided to be a vegan tattoo artist?
Definitely, definitely. So yeah, of course, like the big concern people think about is ink. Like, oh, who has vegan ink? Blah blah blah. And nowadays, most ink is vegan just because of the new recipes. It's much cheaper to make that way. It's easier to produce that way. But that's really not the issue. Like you were saying, like little things like razor blades that have those little gel strips at the top. A lot of those contain gelatin or glycerin from
Mhm.
animals. Um, Even the stencil paper, the original formula also contains glycerin. So I use the certified vegan one. Ointments, even with your aftercare, people are just buying lotion off the shelf and not realizing, like, hey, this lotion was tested on animals, or
Mhm.
it contains some animal products. Lanolin is a really common one, especially when you're looking at ointments and creams. And a lot of people don't even know what that is. I didn't know what it was until I, made the switch on my tattoo side. Like this was after I had stopped eating animal products.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was like, oh, like I want to make sure everything I use to put in my body and other people's body is vegan. And I had never heard of lanolin. And then
Yes, a lot of people. It's amazing how when you go vegan, you start learning about all of this shit that's like right
everything.
under your nose. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always feel resentful too. It's like all you motherfuckers knew this except for me, and it's like no, nobody like
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
giving this shit to me this whole time, and no one told me. So,
Right.
how did you make that switch? Why did you go vegan? You said you've been tattooing for 11 years, and you've been
Hmm.
vegan for 10.
Just
So
about 10. Yeah, I did the math yesterday and it's more around like 9. But I
who's
like to say
counting?
10. It sounds better.
Sounds better. I usually, yeah, I've been vegan 18, almost 19 years, but I just tell people 20 because it's just like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my
um,
only answer is I haven't been vegan long enough. So
yeah, I wish I went earlier.
exactly.
But why did
Exactly.
you, why, how, what was the big wake up call? What was that clarion bell that made you, what made you change?
Right. So there was quite a few factors. So when I grew up, we grew up on a farm in Ohio where my parents raised goats, sheep, and chickens for meat, and that was just a daily thing. It always bothered me though. Like it always upset me. I always knew it was wrong, and I refused to eat anything that came off of our farm because it was like, why would I? I mean, I
Mm,
knew them; they were my friends, but I
yeah,
didn't make the connection between like eating a hamburger that I bought at the store and like my best friend that I just had to watch get slaughtered for food.
yeah,
And then as an adult, um, honestly, I used to be terrible. I used to make fun of vegans. I would tease them. My Instagram bio literally said "not a vegan" because I thought it was so annoying that every vegan put vegan in their bio.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, and one day I was just talking mad shit about it, and I kind of called myself out. I was like, "Wait a minute, like I should try it." Like, I mean, these people are pathetic, not eating meat. How lame of them! Like, I bet I could do that, no problem.
Yeah,
So I gave myself a challenge. I was like, I'm gonna go vegan for a week and just show everybody how easy it really is and how lame it is. And immediately when I'm done, I'm gonna go back to eating steak. Um, and it was about 3 days in where I felt a huge difference, and I was like, holy shit! Like
yeah.
I don't ever want to eat meat again, just because I felt great. And then that same week, I started doing a lot of research and just like watching videos because I mean my algorithm on my Instagram changed because I was looking up vegan recipes, trying to like stay
Mhm.
entertained with this week-long challenge.
Yeah.
And that's when like videos started popping up about like what really happens in the animal industry.
And you said
And
you found some bald guy too, right? Who's the bald guy?
yeah,
Gary
right.
Gary Yorovsky you found
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
right?
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the stuff he was saying just like really got to me, and I was like, you know what, like this makes sense because like I've always said I loved animals and, like, I never
Yeah,
want anything bad to happen to animals, but here I am actively paying for bad things to happen to animals.
totally. You
And
can't
then,
love
like,
them and eat them.
yeah, and then something just clicked, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm never going back." And I mean, since that day, um, obviously, I've made a few mistakes here and there, not knowing something had animal product in it and
Yeah,
finding out the hard way.
it's not a contest. Yeah,
But yeah, I never even had the temptation to go back to eating meat.
yeah,
So,
that's
um,
amazing.
yeah,
Did
it
you
was a dramatic shift for me.
did you know any? Because it seems like you kind of like self kind of challenge yourself. Did you know any vegans or have any kind of support group when you were kind of going through that? And
Yeah, so at the time, this was when I was still an apprentice and I was working at Whole Foods actually, and I was working in the cheese department. I was like a professional cheesemonger. That was my all day, every day was working with fancy cheeses.
Mhm.
And one of my buddies who also worked at Whole Foods in the produce department was a vegan. And as soon as I decided to go vegan, I transferred to the produce department, one, because I wanted to be around fruits and vegetables and not cheese,
Mhm.
and two, because of my buddy that worked in that department who was also vegan. So that was a big help. But the biggest help for sure has been my little brother. He
Yeah.
went vegan a couple years before me, I want to say, maybe a
Oh,
year.
really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Um, and
So he went through the same kind of shit you did, like 4-H life and living on a farm. He kind of like had that
all of it.
same childhood trauma that probably
Yeah.
helped spur that, you know?
Yep. Yeah. And we both ended up in the same, you know,
Wow. How do your
but
parents
he's
feel about that?
uh so at first they were weirded out, but my mom is very supportive about it actually. Like she no longer does a lot of the animal stuff. I mean, she does still have a farm and it's still sad. But like she eats mostly vegan. And every time we come
Interesting.
to visit, she makes damn sure that everything in the house is vegan and all that. So she's very good about it. But my brother has definitely been the biggest support and inspiration as well. He's huge into activism. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of him. His name is Simon Plazolas Hayes. You might have seen him on his TED Talk about veganism. He does a lot of activism in the UK and Europe,
Yeah.
as well as the United States. Pretty much anywhere he gets the chance, he's out there
Wow.
doing great things.
So when we get you out in the activism side of things, you want to get out there, wear the Guy Fawkes mask?
As long as it's not at 8:30 in the morning, I'm down.
Yeah, this is the hardest. People think that what I do is so easy but no, it's not. I got to be up early, so it's the
Yeah.
hardest form of activism. No, of course there's people out there getting arrested for